Caregiving. It's one of the most challenging and selfless roles a person can take on. It's a journey filled with love, dedication, and at times, deep emotional and physical strain. Whether you're caring for an aging parent, a spouse, or another loved one, the responsibility can be overwhelming, and it affects not just your time and energy, but also challenges your mental and financial resilience. In America, 100 million adults function as caregivers, and with this growing need comes new challenges, balancing work, family, and sometimes your personal well-being while navigating the emotional toll of caregiving. Are you a caregiver feeling the weight of responsibility on your shoulders? Or maybe you're seeking a listening ear and a community that understands. At Sage Collective, we understand these struggles, and our Caregiver Support Program is here to provide you with guidance, support, and the resources you need to help you manage the complexities of caregiving. Our Caregiver Support Program offers a variety of online resources that provide you with credible information. And our virtual education workshops and training sessions are hosted by subject matter experts who provide valuable insights, advice, and practical tips for your caregiving journey. We tailor our workshop series for busy caregivers so that you can attend virtually or on demand, and they are all designed to empower you as you navigate the intricacies of caregiving. We explore a variety of topics such as caregiving techniques, financial planning, and understanding the complexities of Medicare and Medicaid. You'll discover strategies to combat burnout and manage stress in our Mindful Caregiving workshop. And we cover the basics of monitoring and managing chronic conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, and dementia. And because we care about the well-being of your loved one too, you'll also learn how to confidently assist them with activities of daily living while preserving their dignity and their independence. Through a range of innovative and interrelated program components, Sage Collective's Caregiver Support Program provides essential support, education, and resources to caregivers, ensuring they can effectively care for their loved ones. Additionally, our Caregiver Support Group offers a safe and welcoming space where caregivers can connect with others who truly understand their challenges. As we look to the future, Sage Collective will continue to raise awareness about the unique challenges caregivers face, highlighting important issues that impact you and your loved ones. By collaborating with healthcare facilities, community centers, faith-based organizations, and other key institutions, we can extend our reach and strengthen our impact. Together, we can amplify our services and cultivate a supportive community where all caregivers feel valued and empowered. At Sage Collective, we want caregivers to know that you are never alone. We're dedicated to empowering caregivers and helping you build a strong, supportive community as you navigate this journey. Visit our Caregivers Support page at sagecollective.org to register for workshops and events, access valuable tools and resources, and take the first step toward a more balanced and resilient caregiving experience.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the launch of our Sage Collective Caregiver Support Program. I am excited to have you here this evening. We're excited to launch this program. And if you think about it, at this point, as we've gotten older, we either know someone who is a caregiver, we've been a caregiver ourselves, so you kind of have a sense of some of the questions that start coming at you, some of the challenges that you have to overcome from navigating Social Security and home health care, different diets, maybe different living arrangements. And interestingly, the team at Sage, everyone on our team has been or is a caregiver. And that's maybe not terribly unique, except we have people on our team of all ages. And so I think it speaks to the heart of the people who work for SAGE and their care and compassion for others. But we also recognize as we had these conversations that there was a need for us to provide this information, the resources that we were uncovering, and the information that we were sharing with others. And that's why we decided to launch our caregiver support program, because we want to make sure that we're giving this information to you, that you have a safe place that you can come. So, part of our community of people that we're hoping to build will have an opportunity to participate in our educational workshops. We have online resources. We're going to be having events like walks along the lakefront, or even theater outings, because even though sometimes it's hard to get away and maybe go away, there's still a need for respite care. So we're all about self care. Our commitment is to making sure that we bring you along as we get this information. And so today, we're going to be hearing from two very highly regarded professionals. This is the first in our series of workshops, and we're going to be talking about some of those emotional stresses, some of those challenges that go along with caregiving. And then we're going to teach you a few techniques and strategies that you can use to be mindfully meditating and maybe relieve some of that pressure cooker that you feel from time to time when everything seems to be overwhelming you. But right now, I want to have join me one of our Sage Collective members, Lauren Smith. Hey, Lauren. Now, interestingly, Lauren actually was a caregiver herself. So, Lauren, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your caregiving journey.
Absolutely. And hello, everyone. Yes, as Donna mentioned, I was a caregiver myself when I was very young because both of my parents worked and my grandmother lived with us to help the family with childcare needs. And as I grew up and got older, the roles eventually switched, and I started assisting her with activities of daily living like cooking or driving or shopping. And because I was so young, it felt just like hanging out with my grandmother. But then the role got progressively more responsible when it came to medication and making sure I was giving her the right prescription and the right amount. Or if she fell, I need to know who to call. So there was an amount of pressure there that I didn't know I was going to have to experience so young, but I wanted to take care of my grandmother. So that was my history with the role.
Well, that's really inspiring. And it reminds me when people talk about caregivers being hidden heroes, it also reminds me that caregivers come in all shapes and sizes and ages, right? And so I'm sure you've been a role model for others as you think about the journey that you went on. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to turn this program over to you. But before I do, I really want to thank everyone again for coming. And I want to introduce our first speaker because she happens to be a dear friend of mine. She is a almost 50-year healthcare professional as a nurse, mental health nurse. As she presently is a visiting professor at the Chamberlain School of Nursing. But alongside her professional experience and expertise and award-winning home health care service and all of the things that she's done, she was also a caregiver to her husband, who was also a dear friend of ours. And I remember calling to check on her, and she would end up uplifting us and encouraging us, and was always so very positive, having taken on that role of caregiver to her husband. So when we thought about launching our program, I knew that she was the perfect person to invite to speak tonight. So please welcome Genevieve Thomas to our stage.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
So nice to have you here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's nice to be here, and thank you for those words. Not sure if I appreciate you letting everyone know that I've been a nurse for 50 years, but in actuality, it's 50 years exactly. I'm going to my 50th class reunion in May.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's a blessing, right? If we can get to say that these days. I don't know how it happened, like overnight.
Yeah.
But you're wearing it well. You're wearing it very well. So I'm going to turn you over to our lovely Lauren Smith so that we can talk a little bit more about some of the emotional challenges of caregiving. Thank you so much again. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I'll see you next time for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donna. And hello, Dr. Thomas. I'm really excited to have this discussion with you today and go through the emotional challenges of caregiving because we don't often get to discuss them. A lot of people go through them, but we don't have the opportunity to really unpack everything that goes along with it. So as we mentioned, you have experience as a nurse and you were a caregiver for your late husband. Is that correct? Could you walk us a bit through that experience?
Actually, I was a caregiver for my parents first,
Wow.
and went through that whole process. And
Mhm.
because I am a nurse that owned a home care agency, we used to walk a lot of people through the caregiving process and had the opportunity to see what people deal with, the different, it's varied, the issues and problems and feelings about it is as varied as the number of people that are actually doing it. So we had to learn a lot about the actual needs of those of the family members as well as the patient that we were there to take care of. Um, then, of course, as a professional, you never think that you're going to have to apply those same skills to your own personal situation. And so, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and all of a sudden, life changed, and I became a caregiver. And I had to make many of the same decisions that so many other people have to make. Am I going to be able to take care of him? Am I doing a good enough job? What kind of support can I get? How can I do all of this? It just seemed so overwhelming. And so I had to learn how to kick in and think about the lessons that I taught so many other people and start applying those to my own life.
I see. And you touched a bit on this, but I do want to expand a little bit more on how caregiving itself can be both rewarding and overwhelming at the same time. What are some of the most common emotional challenges that caregivers face, and how do you think they can navigate them?
There's a myriad of things that you go through, the emotional, the constant demands on you if you are actually caretaking for someone at home, which is what my experience was. Sometimes the caregiving can take the form of you just having to go back and forth to the hospital or to the rehab or wherever your loved one is. Um, in my case, it was full time, 24/7 at home. So
Mhm.
I quickly realized that, burnout can happen at any point if you don't follow certain steps. And so I had to kick in those kinds of techniques to take care of myself so that I could take care of him. And
Mhm.
it really was 24/7. He chose hospice during the last 3 months of his life. And that's when I really had to do the caretaking, and I slept right next to him on the couch in the den where the bed was. And every morning it was 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, showtime. And that's the way I treated it. Like, okay, get up, and you start your
Yeah.
routine, and you have to know, you figure out what your routine needs to be to help that person. And in this case, I had to, do the morning care, physical care, prepare breakfast, serve breakfast, and during this time, you're going up and down the stairs, wash the dishes, do this, do that, by the time lunchtime gets here, you're like, okay, we're gonna have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or something.
Mhm.
Um, so, in order to go through this and to deal with the emotional issues that can lead to um, physical and emotional issues that can lead to just absolute burnout and resentment and a whole lot of things that you start to feel
Mhm.
about what you're doing. Then you feel guilty because you resented having to do more and more. And you have to quickly then catch yourself and come back into reality. You have to forgive yourself for not being perfect, not doing everything the way you need to do it or the way the person may want it done. And you have the other challenge that the person who's sick many times is, of course, so frustrated with their physical condition that they aren't necessarily the nicest person to deal with. So
Right.
then you have to kind of navigate how are you going to respond to that. And it can lead to arguments when a person is sick. Then you feel guilty because you argued with the person. Okay, so that's why I say you have to forgive yourself because you're not perfect, and no one is going to be perfect. We're not wired to be a 24/7 caregiver.
Right.
Um, and so there are certain things that you have to put in place. The early warning signs of being burnout from the chronic stress of caregiving. If you feel overwhelmed,
Mhm.
easily irritated, emotionally numb to what's going on. You have trouble concentrating at times and frequent forgetfulness, withdrawing from social life because you're like, okay, my life is changed, it's over. You can't see the end to what's going on. And so you just kind of withdraw. And so those
Mm.
are some of the signs that you are at a point of burnout and you need to do, and there are some things that you can do about that.
Okay. We touched on a lot of themes there that I do want to unpack a little bit more. Since we left on burnout, that's something that is a major concern for caregivers. What are some early signs? You did go through a few, but I want to know if there's anything that you can indicate in particular that's a warning sign for when you're starting to feel that way, and what steps can people take to protect their mental well-being once they've reached that point?
Okay. Um, Burnout, signs of burnout include exhaustion, mental and physical exhaustion,
Mm.
irritability, and even, like I said, resentment. And so those are the things that you want to keep to yourself. You don't want people to know that you feel that way. And so you start to internalize those feelings, which only builds up more and more of the stress. So
Mhm.
early warning signs also include just, as I said, the trouble concentrating, feeling overwhelmed, and withdrawing from social kinds of interactions, people calling to check, and you just say, oh, everything's fine, and
Mm.
not, expressing, you don't want to express how you're really feeling. You don't want to be judged for feeling a certain way or resenting what it is that you're going through as a caregiver,
Mhm.
because you care for your loved one, you loved your loved one. But as I said, most of us are not wired for caregiving. And even though I'm a nurse, I found the actual 24/7 caregiving to be very, very difficult for me. So, what you have to do is set some boundaries. You set boundaries by deciding, okay, I'm going to take care of the morning activities. And then I'm going to do some things like once I get him settled or get my loved one settled, then you do some breathing exercises and meditate, develop your have your own routine. I mean, as you know, I mean, I'm not a young person myself, so I have, to take my medication. I have to take care of myself, or I wouldn't have been able to take care of him. And the same goes for most caregivers. We tend to want to take care of that person and forget about taking care of ourselves, as if it's all going to work out on its own, and that's not necessarily true. Everyone that's on this earth has a purpose and a destiny, and you can't meet that person purpose and destiny if you give up all of yourself to something else or someone else. So you have to set boundaries and do things for yourself. You have to ask for support from
Mm.
people you know. So a lot of people don't have sisters and family that they can call upon or friends that they can call upon. Do they have a church member? And that's some of the things we used to do with our patients. Just kind of go through the whole list of things with them. Do you have church members? Do you have a neighbor that you like, or that you can feel comfortable with? And be specific about what your need is. Don't just say, I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know what I need, whatever. Be specific. In my case, by the time I got to lunch, as I said, I was exhausted. So I made arrangements, when friends were saying, what can I do to help? I made arrangements for them to bring lunch.
Hmm.
And it got to the point where I had people bring lunch and dinner. So cooking was off the table. So I didn't have to do that. The grocery shopping has to be done, all of that. And, I'm just blessed that I had my daughter and other people in my life, my church members and friends that, were willing to help out. And so you have to ask for the support that you need, and truly engage in stress relief activities. So, for example, instead of watching heavy things on TV, the news, which can be so overwhelming and can drag you down into depression with some of the things that go on, um, when you have an opportunity to watch TV, turn on something that's light. My lightness came from watching Golden Girls. So
Aw.
I, I like watching Golden. Watch a comedy or a game show or whatever. It makes you smile. And one of the things that I found so helpful, my doctor did breathing exercise, showed me breathing exercises where you actually breathe in, think of something pleasant, take a deep breath in and smile and let the breath out. And it's so stress relieving. It helps to reset your mind, and get you into the mind frame of there is still life. There's not
Hmm.
not over till it's over, and helps you to be able to lighten the moment so that you can have the energy to go back and take care of your loved one. Okay, everybody's situation is different, and so it's hard to say exactly what would work for each and every person. So there are resources too, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as well.
Oh, wonderful. Wow, those are so many valuable lessons that you've given in just such a short period of time. So before I let you go, I do have one last question for you. We touched on how to set boundaries and how to prioritize self-care. And a topic that you brought up earlier was guilt, which I resonate so much with because in my situation, as we said, everybody's situation is different, but we share a lot of the same feelings in what we're all going through. My grandmother at a point in time did had to stay at a nursing home. So the guilt that my family shared amongst ourselves was finding the time to go visit, making sure that she felt safe and cared for, and fitting her into our schedule.
Mhm.
When I say it out loud, it sounds terrible, but
Mhm.
truly, we have school, we have work, we have other obligations, and it just added another layer to what we had to do in order to take care of this person that we loved so much. So, do you have any last tools that you can share with us for navigating guilt as a caretaker?
That is probably the biggest issue for most of us to deal with, even if the person is in the hospital for a short stay. I mean, let's face it, we work all day long. We have our own lives, our families to take care of, everything, and then you've got to stop. Now you've got to fit in a visit at the hospital, and you can't just or the nursing home, and you can't just run in and run out, and not. I'm so sorry, you can't just run in and run out. You have to spend time. And so it really does add a burden. And you feel guilty about feeling that way, but it's a burden. Um, Let me give you my own example. Um, at one point, my husband was so sick, he was in the bed quite a bit. And as a result, wasn't able to walk. He didn't have the strength in his legs. So he went to a nursing home. And I always tell people when they ask me about nursing homes, just make sure it's a nursing home that's close by you. because you need to be there often, and you need to be able to stop in whenever you can. Um, Now, I had sisters, so we shared shared the caretaking for my parents. But with my husband, I felt the need to be there all the time because I just felt,
Mhm.
he was really with it still, mentally and all of that. And so I just felt horrible leaving him at night there, but he needed the rehab for that. So, you're no different than anyone else when it comes to that. Yes, it is a burden. And you know what? When someone passes, people don't want to say it, but many times it's a relief. That person is going to a better place and in a better place, and not suffering. That's what's so important. That's what was important to me, that I preserve his dignity and that he not suffer. And
Mhm.
so he is in a better place. And I'm relieved from the burden of having to take care of him and the feeling that I couldn't do enough. And if it got worse, could I still maintain that? And
Mhm.
it was a scary thought, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this forever? Am I going to be able to, am I going to have to put him in a nursing home so that someone can take care of him 24/7? But there are other resources. That was a medical issue that I had to deal with. Many times people are dealing with a loved one who has Alzheimer's, and of course that is a lot different because they can go for years needing care, and
Mhm.
it can be very difficult, become very difficult. They can become combative. Then they get to the point many times of not even knowing who you are. So, you're a stranger to them. They can't even say your name. So the feelings that you get about that and being so hurt that here this man is or woman is that I've known all my life and been intimate with who doesn't even remember my name, um, and you many times we're confined to the house with someone who's suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia because the person has to be monitored constantly. So I always, when I consult with people, I tell them, if you cannot manage that person at home, if they're combative, if you cannot go to the bathroom because they'll leave out the front door and that kind of thing, you might have to look at some other resources like memory units that are locked with special people that are specialized in taking care of that population and treat them with dignity and humanity. And so some people have short-term caregiving. Mine was relatively short-term. Um, and some people have longer term kinds of issues. So, I can't end this conversation without just saying, too, that as we age, I have to always look at prevention. And so, I'm in my 70s. So, I don't want my daughter to be in the situation that you just described.
Mhm.
So I'm making plans now, that so that she doesn't have to leave her family and her life to take care of me. And if that means that I need to sell and do whatever I needed to do to move in with her, that's fine. And I'm prepared to do that because we have to begin to be realistic about life and the end of life issues. So I hope that, is helpful. um, there are a lot more things that you can do. I didn't talk about respite care in
Mhm.
facilities for people who have long-term issues with loved ones that need to be cared for. You can arrange to send a person to adult daycare centers. And respite care means, if you're going out of town or you take a weekend off, you might be able to arrange to have your loved one stay in a nursing facility for the weekend. Um, don't feel guilty about it because you have to go on and take care of yourself. You have to live.
Understood. Yes, that's extremely important. And while I still have you, I just want to read a few comments that we have that have come through as you've been sharing your story and helping us navigate our emotional challenges. One is from Dana Metzger, who says, I'm a caregiver for my daughter who's special needs. I totally agree about taking time off for yourself. I love my garden, and that's where I breathe and meditate. That's an amazing form of self care, Dana.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
another story from Mike Brown. During the time our dad was in a nursing home, we quickly discovered the significance of being present and visiting on a daily basis. My sister and I would split the week and literally show up every day and at different times. The home knew we were coming and didn't know when it made a huge difference in his care. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And so many of us are dealing with these issues. I'm just surprised all the time. And I get calls all the time, trying to help people navigate through it. And the most of what I tell them, or deal with, is the emotional aspect. Don't make decisions, trying to help them not make decisions out of guilt, but giving them some practical ways of dealing with it, and also appealing um, to the fact that I know that they're going through emotionally, and encouraging them to take care of themselves. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. All of those experiences are extremely valuable for every one of us to hear, and I'm sure that they've impacted our audience as they've been sharing their stories along with you. So, Dr. Thomas, thank you so much again for everything that you shared with us today and for joining us this evening.
So welcome. So happy to do it. Okay.
And as we continue to explore better ways that we can manage our emotional aspects of caregiving, let's grab a chair and make some space. We're all going to get moving because we have another special guest with us today. Maile Wicklander, founder and owner of Chicago's own Tula Yoga Studio, will be guiding us through a gentle yoga flow, allowing us all a moment to relax and get loose. So, Maile, thank you as well. It is such a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you for joining.
Lauren, and thank you, Donna, for inviting me.
Yay! So, do you mind describing a little bit of what your yoga flow will look like for us this session?
Sure. So we're going to stay in a chair. It's highly accessible. We're just going to concentrate on, much of what Dr. Thomas talked about in really just taking care of yourself. I know that caregivers give a lot of their energy outward with nurturing and supporting and doing things, right? A lot of the attention is outward. And not taking maybe enough time for yourself just to move and breathe and kind of release some of that tension, being proactive about not burning out and things like that. And at the end of the day, just giving yourself some love and some kindness that you're so freely sharing with your loved ones.
Amazing. Well, I know I can't wait to get started, so I'll let you take it away.
Okay.
Thanks, Maile.
Yeah. So everything, like I mentioned, everything we're going to be doing in a chair. So you can just grab a chair where you are. So I am a yoga instructor and a meditation instructor. So we're going to do a little bit of both, but these are very mindful movements. We're just going to get in touch with our bodies, our breath, all of that, and maybe get a little tension out as well. So I'm starting on my chair, and you can come up back away from the chair back just a tad. So you're kind of on the end of your chair, wherever you're sitting. Then place both feet onto the ground. So we'll just start here just by some grounding practice. So I'm going to place my hands just on my lap. You can have a soft gaze in front of you, or if you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and close your eyes. We're just going to start to come into the space of our own bodies. So if you're able, gently sealing the mouth, breathing in and out through your nose. Feeling your feet on the ground. Maybe even lifting up the toes or lifting up the heels a few times, rocking them back and forth. Really feeling gravity holding you here. Maybe feeling the weight or the temperature of your hands in your lap. And then moving your awareness slightly to your spine. Maybe create a little bit of a longer spine by kind of lifting up the chest a bit, maybe pulling the shoulders back. Maybe lifting the chin a bit or shifting the head right over the top of your spine. Keep breathing. Maybe with each exhale here, you can start to feel your shoulders kind of dropping down towards your hips, away from the ears. Our shoulders, our necks are very often here when we're stressed, when they're full of tension. It's one of the places where we often keep tension and stress. So just noticing that for yourself. And often what we do in some of our meditation and yoga practices at the studio is we just simply do what's called a body scan. So starting at the tips of your toes, we're just scanning through your own body, up through the legs, the hips, up through the spine, to your heart space, to your shoulders, out through your fingertips. And as we scan, we're just noticing how we feel. Maybe we feel gripping or tightness in certain muscles. Often when we're stressed and we're busy and we have so much energy moving outward, we don't stop and take notice of what's happening in our own bodies. So moving up through the face, moving all the way up through the crown of the head, how are you feeling at this moment? Just noticing that for yourself. Whenever you're ready, you can gently open the eyes. We'll place the left hand over your heart center, right hand on the lower ribs, and we're just going to follow the breath for a few moments. So again, you can keep the eyes open or you can close them. Just noticing that slight contraction and expansion underneath my palms. So I feel the journey of the breath moving through the body. Maybe you can even feel your heart beating. Be noticing where you feel the breath most predominantly. Maybe it's just the tip of your nose, maybe into your throat, higher into your chest. Maybe it's into your belly or even in your sides. Again, makes a huge difference. And these are things that you can do just throughout your day. Closing the eyes, taking a few breaths, feeling into your heart space, knowing that you are enough. And taking a few more moments, just tapping into the breath. And while we're feeling into our breath, we'll do a real simple breath practice here. We're going to start to inhale for the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to exhale for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Couple more times. Inhale for 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Inhale for 3. 1, 2, 3. And let it go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going back to your normal breath. You can take your hands away if you had them on your body. So I'm going to bring my arms down and we'll link our breath with our movements here a little bit. So we're going to start just simply by inhaling, feeling up, lifting up the arms, maybe looking up at your hands, and then turning the palms towards the floor, exhaling, letting it go. Maybe you can move slowly with the breath, letting the breath guide you, inhaling as you lift, exhaling as you lower. 2 more times. Inhale, lift. And exhale, let it go. Nice. One more time. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower back down. I just realized you can't see the top of my hands. Maybe we can go out a little bit. Okay, so from here, we're going to come back, arms at your sides. We're going to do a little bit of stretching for the neck and shoulders, that area where it often holds all our attention, our tightness. So we're going to lift the shoulders up towards the ears and start to lean the head back slightly. So from here, gently, 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 slowly, we're going to bring the shoulders back down and lift the head back up. So rolling the shoulders. Inhale, lifting up, leaning back, and exhale, lowering back down. Maybe you feel some jagged movements, some sort of stiff movements here. It's okay. It's to be expected. That's that tension. Those are those knots. We'll be doing that a few more times here. Just exploring in the body here, listening in. And just like we did that body scan at the very beginning, just paying attention to what's happening in the body. Maybe releasing some of that tension and tightness. From here, we're going to lift the arms up again, nice and high. Maybe you look up between the hands. And then I'm going to drop my left hand down. I'm mirroring you. We're going to start to arch the spine over, maybe looking up, reaching through the fingertips. We're going to keep this hip down, reaching through the side body. Maybe you lean the shoulder back just a little bit. Breathe. Inhale back through to center, and then other side, dropping the arm, arching the body. A long line of energy through fingertips to your hip. Inhale, arms back up. This time we're going to exhale. We're going to cactus the arms out to the sides. Pull your shoulder blades together on the back. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, cactus the arms. Couple more times. Inhale, lift up. Nice and slow. Exhale, cactus the arms. Maybe look up. Awesome. So we're going to go into a little bit of a twist here. So we're going to inhale the arms back up. We're going to turn the torso towards the left. Again, I'm mirroring you. So right hand is going to come outside left knee. And we're going to open up with this left arm. Maybe turn the head to look at the extended arm. Drop the shoulders down. Keep breathing. Inhale, arms back up. This time I'm going to slightly turn the torso towards the right. My left arm is going to come outside my right knee, and I'm going to open up with the right to the right side. Turn your head. Drop the shoulders down. Release the jaw. Remember to breathe. Inhale, rise back up. We're going to do that one more time either side. So hand outside knee. We're just twisting open. I'm feeling this twist in the middle of the back here. Maybe you just turn the head to the opposite shoulder. Just getting a little more of a neck stretch, and then back again. Inhale, rise up. And then other side one more time. Be looking over, maybe turning the head opposite way, and back again. And inhale, lift up. We're going to exhale, cactus the arms, lean back. One more time. Inhale, rise, lift up, and exhale, cactus the arms. All right, shake that out. From here, we're going to bring hands back to thighs. Maybe widen the feet out just a tad here. So we're going to start to bring in your chin in towards your chest, rounding your shoulders forward. So we're really rounding the spine, pulling the pelvis, like tucking the tailbone under. From here, we're going to start to open up. We're going to slide the hands back towards the hips. As we start to pull the shoulders back, lift up, maybe look up. Feel the shoulder blades come together on the back. Exhale, hands come towards knees, chin towards chest. We're rounding the shoulders in. And then inhale, sliding the hands back. We're opening up. We're moving all the vertebrae in the spine here. Very important for keeping mobility, lubricating those joints. I had a doctor tell me once that every day you should move in every way that your spine moves, at least for a few minutes. Few more times, maybe reaching towards the knees, chin towards chest, rounding the spine. Maybe this time you scooch one shoulder in and then the other, kind of moving from side to side just a little bit, feeling through the side body here. And then inhale, sliding the hands back, lifting up. Nice, coming back through to center. Taking a few breaths here, just noticing how you feel. You just moved a little bit here. Maybe close the eyes, checking in. And then we'll get into our hips just a little bit. So I'm going to extend my legs long. Again, you're on the very end of your chair seat here. I'm going to extend your legs. From here, you maybe point and flex the feet just a few times. I know you can't see my feet. Point and flex the feet. Maybe one, both of them. Notice how that feels. Maybe do some ankle rolls either direction. So from here, we're going to keep a tiny little micro bend into the knee. So we're not locking those joints out, but we're just going to lift the leg up and then place it back down. Super simple, but not always easy. Just lift that up. Feel that hip working here. Just lifting that leg and lowering it back down. A few more times here. Keep breathing. And then we'll move to the other leg, lifting the other leg. And maybe even pointing and flexing the foot on the way up and down. Adding in that ankle mobility. So we're working with the other hip here. You can even place your hand on the side there. You can feel those muscles working. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the other leg. This time I'm going to bend the knee, bring the knee in towards the chest, and then extend it long. Again, super simple movement, not always easy. I'm always surprised how heavy the legs feel. A few more times. So then other side, we're going to lift the leg, bend the knee, bring it in towards chest. And staying present with sensations in the body, with your breath. All right, so I'm going to bend the knees back to our sitting position, and we'll get into the hips a little even more. So from here, I'm going to cross one ankle over the opposite leg. I'm going to gently push some pressure into that side of the knee. I'm going to flex this foot. If you feel like this is enough, this is stretching the hips, opening the hips, you could stay here, you can breathe. Or option here to start to lower down over the legs. Pause here, take a few breaths. Notice where you feel some resistance. Notice if you're tightening your jaw. Often when we get into the hips, these areas of tension, our jaw tightens, we forget to breathe. Inhaling, lifting back up. And we're going to uncross the leg. Place the other ankle over the opposite leg. And this side might feel totally different. So you might want to stay like this. Maybe this is enough. And that's certainly enough. Otherwise, you can start to, again, just lean forward slightly. Keep breathing. Just a few more breaths here. Maybe you notice that you went too far and you want to back off. Maybe you want to go a little bit deeper. Just deciding for yourself what's right in your body at this time. Inhaling, rising back up. I'm going to separate the legs here. So from here, I'm going to widen out the legs. I'm going to bring my hands to my knees. So if we were standing up, we'd be in kind of a squat here. You're going to elongate your spine. And then very, very gently, just start to dip one shoulder in towards the center. And then up. And dip the other shoulder in. And up. We'll do that a few more times. Maybe you feel that little twist, that pull in the low back. Making sure it feels okay for you. And maybe one more time here, just for good measure. Nice. So we're going to heel toe the feet back together. So from here, I'm going to come back onto the back of the chair here. We're just going to finish up with a little, another little meditation. So place your hands onto your lap or on the arms of a chair, just so they're comfortable. Again, you're invited to close the eyes. First, just check in. Notice kind of the echo, the energy of those movements that we've made with the body. Notice how your body's responding. Maybe even notice how maybe there's some feelings or emotions tied to movements in the body. That mind-body connection, right? Maybe you feel a sense of peace or calm. Maybe you stirred up some things and you feel even more anxious. That's a possibility. Can you simply be with whatever is arising? Can you simply take this time for yourself to practice simply being or not doing? Simply knowing that You are whole. You are enough. Knowing that you are firmly grounded into this present moment. This ever-changing present moment. Going back to that awareness of the breath, take a few more breaths. And whenever you're ready, gently opening the eyes. Invite you to take your palms to heart center. And I thank you so much. You know what? Express gratitude to yourself for taking some time for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Miley. Wow, that was so great. And you kept dropping little nuggets throughout of just taking care of yourself, and you are enough, and take the space of the moment. It's hard when you're a caregiver or even just busy in general to be okay with doing what feels like nothing, but it really is just taking a moment for yourself and allowing that moment to just be. That was beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Again, I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Genevieve Thomas for your insights in navigating the emotional challenges of caregiving. Thank you to Miley again for that rejuvenating yoga and meditation experience. And last but certainly not least, thank you to you all, our audience, for joining us today to launch this exciting new initiative. So to stay connected and learn more about the Caregiver Support Program, feel free to get in touch with us or email at advice@sagecollective.org. I do want to go through our comments one last time to share a few more of the stories that we had, as well as our Vibrant Living podcast, which speaks into so much of what we talked about here today. So we do have that available wherever you get your podcast. You can also find it on the Sage Collective website. I wanted to acknowledge Dania. You shared that our stories are similar in the fact that I cared for both of my parents. I found peace in swimming laps, a place where I could be not contacted and where I found peace. That's beautiful and goes into exactly what Miley and I were just discussing, of taking time for yourself, allowing space for the moment, and allowing space for you to just breathe, to have fun swimming laps in the pool, knowing that you have so much other things going on in the world that you could be taking care of. But just like you said, Samira, that felt great. The stretching helped relieve some tension, and it sure did as well for me. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us this evening. Again, feel free to check out our podcast, Sage Advice, Vibrant Living, the podcast, because we do have an episode all about caregivers, our hidden heroes, and many, many more for you all to explore. Also, we will be having more of these Facebook Live and YouTube Live sessions, so feel free to join us for some upcoming classes, and follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, everywhere you can find us, and you'll be able to join future lessons. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, and thank you again. Have a good night.